What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Double Coverage. I am Dom with the great man Sauce. We hope you're still living, loving, and breathing sport. And today, Saucy, we got a great guest. We got a very, very, very good guest, and we are super excited. We got Matt, the Oz F1 collector. How you going?
Yeah, good man. It's a bit to live up to with that intro.
Oh yeah. It's just to make us look good, and then our guests make us look even better. So, Saucy, how you going?
That's good, mate. That's the plan.
Yeah.
I'm excited because to have Matt on the show. Came across his collection and his Instagram account and seen some of the stuff that he had posted there, and just thought it would be really cool to get someone on that's been following the sport and been a collector for quite a while. Have a chat. We've got a few questions lined up. So yeah, it's going to be fun.
Pleasure. I think we'll get it kicked off. We'll get it kicked off. Let's everyone that listens to this, sit back, relax, and get educated on F1. Like,
grab a frothy,
straight up.
Grab a frothy,
whatever
your beverage of choice.
You want to get educated. This is how you get educated. You listen to an Aussie. That's how we do it. All right, or a European when it comes to F1. So we've got the Aussie because we're based here. So Matty, first of all, tell us a bit about yourself and where your love for Formula One started.
Yeah, I've just been a massive Formula One fan for as long as I can remember. Actually, funnily enough, how I got into Formula One was my dad bought me a PlayStation 1. I think it was in 1997. I was about 8 years old, and it came with like the OG Formula One game with the gold car on the front. I just became obsessed with playing it. And because I was playing the game, I used to like watch out for the highlights on like Wild World of Sports on a Saturday when I was a kid. And I started watching races probably from about 1999, and yeah, from about 2000, 2001, I watched every race. Like, it wasn't live. It used to be like delayed on Channel 9, and just from there just became obsessed and, badgered my dad. I used to live in Sydney at that point, and my dad took me down to the Grand Prix for my 13th birthday in 2002. And since then, I've been to every Melbourne Grand Prix, and I've been to a bunch overseas. So I've been to about, I think, 31 now. So yeah, I've been all around the world following it. And yeah, it's look, it consumed all my life in my 20s. I'd never been overseas, so I was 21, and my first trip overseas was the Malaysian Grand Prix, and then I did 3 races in Europe later that year. But yeah, just my whole travel's based around going to Grand Prix, and yeah, I just love it. But it's obviously slowed down a little bit with COVID, and it was great to have it back in Melbourne last month. But yeah, growing up now, so look, now cards are taking my money as well because all the Topps cards have come out over COVID, so that sort of, I guess, changed the direction of my collection a little bit.
Definitely. And just quickly on that PS1 game, do you still have it? You can grade that.
I've got the disc in a folder. I don't have the case, but I do have the disc. Yeah.
Very interesting. So obviously you followed it for such a long time. We got to just ask the simple questions to start with. So, like, your favorite driver of all time, current, in the past. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, my favorite driver of all time would be Sebastian Vettel, and that's because of like the interactions and relationship, I guess, I've had with him. I met him when he was a test driver at BMW Sauber back in 2007 when he was doing the speed comparison. And I asked him for his autograph, and we just chatted a little bit. He's similar age to him. And he'd always sort of remembered me. And then when he saw me at the British Grand Prix in 2010, because obviously I was chasing autographs when I was there, like, he couldn't believe that I'd like traveled from Australia to like go to the Grand Prix in England. And I met some other guys in Europe, and they were all wearing these giant stuffed Red Bull hats. Like, they were massive Vettel fanboys. So I kicked on with them. And then when we're at the German Grand Prix, Vettel came to like his fan zone, and we're all wearing the hats. And he asked us if he could have the hat. And we're like, why would you want this hat? He goes, I'm gonna wear it on the podium. And I'm like, okay. So one of my mates ended up getting him the hat, but he in exchange he gave me a pair of gloves for getting him the hat, and he did wear the hat on the podium when he won the World Championship, and the team wore them in Brazil that year, and yeah, in Abu Dhabi. So he's given me 3 pairs of gloves over the years. He did promise me his Aston Martin gloves this year, but it was really hard. Security was so tight, and I didn't get to see him after the race. But yeah, he's always like looked out for me, and I've had a lot of paddock access through him and his like contacts and stuff over the years. So I've been very, very lucky. So yeah, definitely Vettel for that reason. He's even signed the dash on my car, and my plate's a V3 TTEL.
Oh man, that's epic.
Yeah. So I was a massive fanboy. Like, I still love him, but yeah, at the moment I'm cheering for Max in terms of who's like winning at the moment. I just think he's an outstanding talent. I genuinely think he's going to be of that echelon if he gets the opportunity with his cars. I think Max is unbelievable from 17 years old and what he achieved from being so young. But cheering for Max in terms of who's winning the championship at the moment, but always a Seb fan.
Have you had the privilege, obviously, to meet Max Verstappen at any stage?
Yeah, many times. I'm a serial pest with F1, so I got about 200 autographs at the Grand Prix just passed. Yeah, I got a lot of card signs, mainly just like Topps Chrome cards, and yeah, I've met them all. I've actually my 2015 ticket, which was Max's debut, I've got signed by him as well, and I collect all his mini helmets. Actually, his Miami helmet arrived today. It came in the post. I ordered on his website last week, and I was lucky enough. I got all 5 of his helmets from last year that he like in half scale signed at the Grand Prix this year. So I was very, very lucky. Yeah.
So sick. There you go, Sauce. Already.
So
mate,
it goes deeper.
I'm already
It goes
blown
deeper.
away here.
It goes
already
deeper,
blown
mate.
away here.
It goes deeper. It's just when, talking about the mini helmets, and that's what I said to you, Dom. I said to you, oh, look, this guy's a serious collector. I've seen your
serious
page.
collector. Mate,
but even of F1, of everything.
He's got drivers on speed dial, mate. He's got drivers on speed dial.
Hey, look,
people in the hobby have us on speed dial, mate. That's like, fuck. Oh, I'm going to call Dom and Sauce. It's like, yeah, whoop-de-doo, mate. Like,
I don't have anyone on speed dial, but if you ever see Seb go Matt from Melbourne, and 100%, he'll probably roll his eyes and laugh. He knows who I am. So, actually, quick story on that. He was really hard to track down this year. So I may have snuck into the track on the Wednesday, and I put a high vis on. And I actually got Seb when he was doing his track walk on the Wednesday with my high vis on.
There you go, Sauce. Hey, mate, you're very welcome to join double coverage at any time, because where there's a will, there's a way. We get into what we want to. That's for sure when it comes to events. And
that's very much.
You just got to do what you got to do. You got to do what you got to do. Just back on to Max. Obviously, this is not a question, but I'm going to lead into this. Just your thoughts, just very quickly, on Drive to Survive. Obviously, it has engaged a new fan base of people around the world, especially in the United States. And obviously, more eyes now are on the sport. They obviously have Miami now tacked on to the calendar. Then they're getting Vegas tacked on as well. So they're going to have 3 races in the United States. And a lot of people that we speak to over in the United States that are based obviously through the hobby love Lewis, but they completely hate Max because of Drive to Survive. So obviously the reality TV show has literally, it definitely has influenced the drivers that they like and dislike. So your thoughts on the show, how it's presented, and obviously you've had a fair bit of contact with a few of these drivers, and if what the show really does, show to everyone out there is actually legit, or it's a bit of mayo on top.
Look, there's definitely some mayo on top. I really enjoyed season 1 and 2. It was really cool to see like the Renault and Red Bull breakup, and then to a degree behind the scenes of like Daniel Ricciardo going to Renault. And I thought that was quite cool. I think they've really been clutching at straws for drama. Season 3 and season 4 was terrible. And they create fake drama, like, Ricciardo and Sainz have this massive rivalry. Like, I don't even think the guys care about each other, to be honest. I think it's look, I like that it's opened F1 up to a lot more people, and F1's becoming more and more popular. Like, it's always been a massive sport, more so in Europe. But like, to give you an indication, like with the American Grand Prix, pre-COVID, it would be about 60% capacity, and now people were scalping tickets for like triple and quadruple the price for Austin last year. So it's really taken America by storm. And I think a lot of that's Liberty Media buying it from Bernie Ecclestone, who an American company. And, the real money in sport, we all know, is in America, and that's the direction. Look, if it keeps the sport afloat and keeps it a unique spectacle, I like it. Personally, I'd rather we go back to Hockenheim than go to Vegas and go to traditional European tracks. But, like, if it's a necessary evil, then if we can have at least 10 really cool tracks, and obviously we stay in Australia, then, it's a good thing. And also it's good because now my card's worth a lot of money.
That's a definite. That is definite.
Which card? Because you said you like Seb Vettel, so I'm guessing you probably got some nice Seb Vettel cards, maybe a sneaky Dynasty patch auto in there. I don't know. Do you have any?
Look, I still say Dynasty because, like, Dynasty just sounds weird to me. I know that.
Yeah, Dynasty, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
don't.
tomato or tomato. It's the same sort of thing, isn't it?
Yeah. I dabbled. I bought one box and I paid $400 for it, which I know now is cheap. But I was like, "Fuck, this is so much money for a card." I wish I could have bought more at that price. Like in hindsight, hey, I got a Latifi, so I got it and I sold it and I broke even because I didn't want a Latifi card. In terms of my Seb cards, I've got this super.
At least you didn't buy it at $3-5 grand or whatever the hell they are now.
That's crazy. But my best Seb cards, I don't know if you can see that with the light, is the super refractor.
Don't worry, it's also making.
It's a super refractor of the 147. The Singapore win is the true.
A little bit closer.
Yeah, sorry. The true one of one.
Yeah.
That card, yeah. So it is the true one of one. It's not the 70th one. I don't know. Yeah, the numbers.
Yeah.
So that's definitely. I've done the rainbow of that. So I've got all the color waves of that one. Plus I got sapphire up till purple. The sapphire one of one just got pulled. Rated Rips pulled it. He's tried to put me onto the guy that pulled it, but he's not responding. But I honestly, I paid $1,000 US for that, which at the time was a lot of money, which I now obviously is really cheap. But I think I'll be priced out to get the sapphire one of one as much as I would love it. But that's probably my best one. I've got all these portraits up to orange, all these sapphire portraits, but I didn't pay I paid like $120 for the orange portrait when they first came out. Like I went hard early. So they're probably my best.
Which is the smart move, because obviously when on a serious note, when these products did get dropped, we do watch parties for all the Grand Prix, and it's like the podcast called Off the Grid. So we just jump in and we just watch the race live, a whole bunch of us.
Yeah.
And we were actually going through the product live on the show, and we kept saying to people, and then that's when we initially said it, and then we kept pushing it and saying, you do know that I know we're just pushing Lewis Hamilton. I understand, because he's obviously with the stats, and stats don't lie. It is there. And when people new to the sport are coming in and they see the statistics, then obviously they believe what the numbers say to them. Obviously, before they go back in time and watch races, that have been obviously completed, and obviously some of the great drivers that have obviously been in F1. But we said, there's actually another driver in the product that has won 4 world championships, and you're giving him no credit. You're putting guys like George Russell and Lando Norris ahead of him because there's an RC on the card. There's a lot of value there, a lot of value in Sebastian Vettel. And everyone's like, oh, Sebastian Vettel, man, he's finished. Look, that Ferrari shithouse. Obviously, he was driving for them when the product first was released, and we were laughing, going like, yeah, we were laughing, but also we were a bit stupid. We probably just should have loaded up on all these guys as well, to be honest. But your thoughts on that? Your thoughts on that? On the rookie cards being?
Yeah, look, I get the whole American view is that the true rookies, a big money card for any sort of player, athlete that becomes prominent. But the way also I laugh because George Russell is going to be very, very lucky to win 4 world championships, or Lando Norris, or any of the other ones with the rookie logo. So in 20 years' time, we're going to look back and, realistically, all Seb cards are going to be worth more than George Russell cards. I can't see them winning 4 world championships. I mean, Russell, maybe. I think he's got the talent. Lando, I don't know. Maybe if he gets lucky. But yeah, everyone they're relatable though as well, because they're younger. They're on, the internet doing memes and shit. I don't know. I guess people,
they're streaming and
they're streaming. Trying to just explain this, but yeah, they're doing all that sort of stuff. So that's why Lando is hugely popular for that. I think the rookie card thing is a bit of a gimmick for me, but at the same time, I do still buy them. For me, my tip is I think Yuri Vips is highly underrated. I think personally he's the fastest driver in F2. He's made a few mistakes, but he's consistently the quickest. If you look at lap times, and he sets fastest laps, so I think he'll probably be in the AlphaTauri. So buy up Yuri Vips if you want to speculate on a driver.
There you go. Nice bit of inside word there, Saucy. Yeah. So you might have to jump onto that.
Not the hell that I know much about the F2 drivers.
Piastre, thoughts on?
I know Piastre's coming up. I was about to say it, though. He stole me thunder. Jeez.
There you go. Well, you can ask.
I do know something.
Well, have you seen the prices of Piastre's cards from Chrome? How much they've been going?
You got a few autos, didn't you, of Piastre?
Yeah, I think his rookie card. Well, the F2 champion card that he in Tops now, I think I got about 20 odd of them signed from him over the weekend.
Nice.
But
I like it.
like his auto was selling for about 1,000. His one of one from the paper product went for 9,800. Yeah, I'm not joking. So he's been hugely hyped, but I actually think he's got the ability. So only 3 drivers have won F3, 2, and 1 F2 and F3 back to back with no season in between as rookies consecutively, and that's Leclerc, George Russell, and now Oscar Piastri. And then I think after Max in F1, they're probably your next 2 best drivers are Leclerc and Russell. I know Lando's got some hype. I think he's good, but I don't think he's quite at their level. We can argue about that later if you like.
That's fair.
Piastri probably needs some more time in F1, and I don't think it was a hugely strong field last year. But at the same time, like Zhao, who's doing reasonably well in F1, was a threat. That was his 3rd year in F2, and he easily beat him. So I think Piastri is got the potential to be huge, but it's his pathway into F1 and where he ends up. If he goes to Williams, is he going to be in a wasteland? I'd love to see Alonso fuck off. To be honest, he's old and he's just taking up a seat for someone that might be a bit exciting. Like as good as Fernando was back in the day, he's had his chance, and everyone's like, oh, he should be a 4 or 5-time world champion, but he made his bed with all these tantrums and leaving teams and everything else. I think a lot of the time, but I'd love to see Piastri in a good card because I do think he is a real hot talent, and I have bought some of his cards, but I still think they're overinflated for what they are at the moment. Even though there is an F2 champion card.
Is there any potential that his pathways? I know of Oscar Piastri. I know what he's done in F2 and stuff, but sometimes it does get complex. And obviously, researching drivers and explaining to people that a lot of people go, "Oh, he'll drive for this team one day," and it's like, no, it actually doesn't work that way because they're in driver academies and they're actually linked to certain teams, and there's a progression pathway that go into a constructors. And that's how they build their way up, and then they bounce around. And so, can you give a bit of insight into that for the people that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I think like with Red Bull, they really nurture their own. So that's Yuri Vitz as part of the Red Bull Academy. So that I think there's a seat at AlphaTauri. Like I've got a feeling Gasly will probably go back to Red Bull. Initially, they were like, both sides were like, "Nah, fuck that. We don't want that to happen." But there's like the will is there. Like there's been some comments in the media, like, and Perez is doing a good job, but so is Gasly's sort of like carried that team. So. I think they hung him out to dry a little bit because he didn't get the results quick enough. And then they nurtured Albon. And I think that was for the Thai money because Red Bull's half a Thai company. Originally, it was a Thai energy drink. And I think he got supported a little bit more than Gasly initially, and then it didn't work out. And I think Sonoda is a bit hit and miss. So I think there could be 1 to 2 seats in AlphaTauri in the next year or 2 coming up. Liam Lawson's on his day, he's fantastic, but he, again, prone to mistakes. I really rate Liam Lawson if he can sort of keep it consistent. It's like Thierry Piastre. Everyone's been hyping him up in F2 and his cards have been going nuts, but he's a Sauber Academy driver. So that's Alfa Romeo. Bottas is on a long-term 3-year contract. They've got the Chinese money with Zhao. Realistically, where's he going to fit into a seat for Piastre? So with Piastri, there's been talk that Williams might loan him. So Albon is still a Red Bull contracted driver, but he's on loan at Williams because the stakeholders there, because I think a big investment group own Williams now, they're not happy with Latifi. And there's some push. I think even Piastri, maybe after the summer break, we might see him in the Williams. There's some rumors behind the scenes. But as much as I want to see him in F1, I'd still rather, like, if Alonso was going to retire next year and he goes to Alpine, that would be better for me. And maybe for selfish 100%. Reasons, we go to his debut at the Australian Grand Prix. How awesome would that be? But I'd like to see him in a more competitive car because I think he's the kind of driver that, like a Lando, you throw him in a decent car, I think he will deliver in his first season some decent results. I'm not going to say he's going to win, but I think he'll impress a few people and get some good results.
Very nice. There you go. Bit of insight there.
We have always said that if he did get a better car, he would probably win some races potentially. So
yeah.
We always thought that. There's the same opinion.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, everything that Matt said so far, I don't think we can disagree with. The Sonoda comment that you made, we don't disagree with it. The Lando comment you made, don't disagree with it. It's all stuff that we've been saying. So it's good to see that our research is actually pretty good.
Look, I will say with Lando though, he I thought how bad Danny Rick was may have flattered Lando last year, but the fact that the cars have been completely changed, and Lando was obviously familiar with the car and it was sort of the same regs. But the fact now how bad Danny Rick's still struggling, obviously Lando does have a lot of talent. But what for me was last year, so that they both had an opportunity to win a race, and Danny Rick brought it home and won a race, and Lando didn't. So that was like the maturity and experience there. I think. But look, I love Danny Rick, and I really don't understand because he was a great driver. I think he's just made some bad moves and maybe probably pushed for the wrong direction with where he went after Red Bull. But yeah, look, I think Lando's a great driver, and I think this year he's impressed me as well. So Lando's a bit better than I may have given him credit for. I kind of wrote Lando off at the start. I didn't really rate him, and I've taken that back, to be honest. Usually I don't do that, but I will with Lando.
Do you want to touch on Daniel Ricciardo? Do you want to have a quick chat about that? Because a lot of people left in limbo wondering when. That's what they keep asking. When? He's not exactly young anymore. He's getting on in age as well, Daniel Ricciardo.
Hey, I'm the same age as Danny Rick, man. Give me a break. We're like 3 months apart.
There you go. So, but
I'm
you know what I mean.
It's
Yeah, I
fine.
know. But that's no. But he is source because like all these younger guys are coming up, and slowly, he's just
your
gonna
reaction
fall back into the
times
shadows.
slow down, get a bit less as you get older.
I get that.
Not
He's
as
30, he's not
elite.
40. He's 32. Look
Not
at
as
Hamilton at
elite.
36. I think with F1 drivers, to a degree, you can stay at your peak till probably your mid 30s. Alonso's maybe a little bit of an exception to that rule. Like he's still bloody impressive. Like in Australia, he was maybe on for pole there with that lap. But
he was definitely on.
With Danny Rick, I'm surprised. Like I thought Max was the quicker driver when they were teammates. But obviously Max was very prone to a mistake and a crash when he was younger, but that's part of being a 17, 18, 19-year-old. It's a bit sad for Danny. I feel like he could have been like a Jensen Button. If he got the right circumstances, he probably could have won a world championship, but I think things needed to fall his way. I don't think he's like that absolute Max Hamilton talent level, unfortunately, but he is amazing, and he does some great overtakes as well, and he sort of doesn't die wondering with his overtakes. So and he's just a great personality and a great ambassador for the sport. Like, it's good 100%. That he's Australian, like people get around him, and I love Danny Rick as a personality, and I'd like to see him doing a lot better, and I really hope this.
We just love the
the shoeies are awesome, man. I just don't want him getting replaced by this IndyCar driver. There's all like Herder. I don't know anything about IndyCar. I don't follow it at all, but there's all these rumors that he might get his contract cut at the end of the year, because McLaren, obviously with the American push, maybe one of their IndyCar drivers might be coming into the team.
Fuck.
Yeah. Colton Herder, I think his name is, and he's going to do some testing in the free practices. They've just signed an agreement, so it's a bit worrying for Danny, I would have thought.
That's a big
worry.
No.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming with that name, and it's obviously IndyCar, he's a United States driver.
I assume so. I know Pato Ward's Mexican, the other guy that sort of got some raps, and he drives for McLaren. I honestly, I don't follow IndyCar. I really don't know. I just know a lot of people are talking about Herder. Yeah. It's a bit of a weird name. Colton Herter is his name. Google him. Oh, I've lost you there, man. I can't.
Sorry, I was muted. Right. Sorry, my bad. Colton Herder is an American open wheel racing driver, so he's from the United States. So see you later, Danny. They're promoting it in the US, so you've lost your spot. As simple as that.
That is a bit of research live on the show here, and it doesn't look good, because you see this a lot with F1, where they align with certain, whatever it may be, country or businesses that, whatever it may be, and they have a mutual interest to push a certain driver or push a certain, culture or whatever, nationality of a driver. It has happened. We've seen it happen until they got thrown out with Mazepin. He was there, only in there because he's Russian.
I think that was for his dad's money. I don't think it had anything for a push in Russia. I think it was just Carey had too much money, and that's why.
That's what I mean. Businesses, I say businesses, country, whatever it could be. There's a lot of things. So
actually, Mazepin was probably not too dissimilar to Tsunoda in terms of results in F2. So I don't. Yeah, like he wasn't a bad driver. I just think the car was crap, and who knows what goes on behind the scenes there. But I don't want him back. I'm not sticking up for him.
No. It is.
We just need him to, do his shifties in the last race of the season, mate. That's all we.
Actually,
need.
On that, so just quickly with Mazepin, that's why Mick and Haas aren't in Dynasty, because apparently they took it out because of the Uralkali branding, and they didn't want it representing their product with like the Russian branding. So that's why Dynasty got delayed from Feb till this week, effectively, because they took all of Haas out of it.
There you go. Interesting.
Yeah, so there's no Mick rookie Dynasties.
I did notice that yesterday, yesterday when we're now recording this, but we did our pod this week and we went through the checklist. And I mentioned you can probably get Schumacher rookies, and then we're like, well, they can't see anything in the checklist here, and we kind of just brushed over it like that, and it makes sense now. So, I'm going to straight out just ask you this question, and I don't know what the answer is going to be, obviously, because I don't know. In your opinion, who is the greatest driver ever in the history of Formula One? Coming from it's your opinion, and it's coming from a person that has been watching this since when? 1999.
Yeah. I've watched every race since about the mid-70s, like recorded or like on my hard drive and stuff.
All right, since the mid-70s. I'll take that back. Since the mid-70s. So
you can find the races online if you look hard enough, mate. They're out there.
Yeah, exactly right. Look, in terms of, I'd say I still rate Schumacher above Hamilton. Look, Hamilton's a really amazing driver, and I'm not saying that he's not, but I think his stats are overinflated due to circumstance. The seasons are a lot longer. He's had a more dominant car for a longer period. No one like that. Merc was so good that Williams were getting podiums with that engine at the start of the turbo hybrid era. And yeah, look, I still think Schumacher. I'd say Schumacher's the greatest. Niki Lauda, if he didn't have his accident, like he won 2 titles, after what happened to him. There's like a lot of credit there to that guy through what he went through and how he bounced back and then retired and came back and won again. So yeah, it's a real tough argument, and it's really hard because obviously I didn't see Fangio race, and yeah, I think it's generational. GOATs I think would be more appropriate in F1. So it's all the cliche names, your Senna, your Schumacher, your Hamilton, Fangio. But yeah, look, if it was for me, I'd take Schumacher over Hamilton.
The reason why I asked, I have seen that you posted some, excuse me, a Hamilton card. I might bring it up here. We'll get straight into it here. Is this the one where you put? Yeah, this is where you put it. So I'll bring this up.
Bring it up, Doma. This is exciting.
All right. So this card in itself, have you been following the hobby recently regarding F1 cards? Obviously, Lewis Hamilton. And obviously, a Futera 2006 Lewis Hamilton was sold on Golden Auctions for $232,000. It was a PSA 9. But this here is something special. And when I saw this, I was losing my shit, Matt. I won't lie. But the comment made me laugh because you actually call him the statistical GOAT. So that made me
he is.
Yeah, it is. And there's. I don't know if you have a little dig to say he's the GOAT, but it's because it's stats. But yeah, exactly. But we're going to bring the card up. Here it is. This is it here. It's not too bad, considering the fact that we've seen the second one now on Golden Auctions, which is going to end in probably, I think it's 8 days. But the difference between the two that are sold on Golden and this one is, of course, this one is raw, but it's signed by Lewis Hamilton. So, bit of the story behind this one.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to go? I'll go through basically how I got into the F1 card. So, I was an F1 autograph hunter, and I was always looking. I'd get my program signed, and then drivers would walk past me, and I'd have nothing to get signed when I was a kid. So I was always looking for cheap things on eBay because I didn't have a lot of money. And I think when it was 2007, I found the 2005 Futera set on eBay. I was like, fuck, these look cool. And I thought maybe there was other years out there. Anyway, the guy that sold it to me, I actually recognized him because he was getting autographs at the Grand Prix as well. And he dropped off the set, and when we're getting autographs. And then he showed me, because this was 2007, he showed me the Futera 2006 set. And even back then, he was like, this set's so rare. I was so lucky to get one. Apparently, he bought all his off the printer in Thailand, apparently. So yeah, I saw that card in 2007. I was like, with other ones, and it was obviously Hamilton's debut, and he got that signed at the event. And I was like, that's unreal. I need to get myself this set. And I was getting my 2005 one signed. So they were released in Japan predominantly, and all the sales sheets were Japanese. So I got a friend from Japan basically just to troll the internet all the time, and it took me about 2.5 years back then to find it. So I think I got it in time for the 2009 Australian Grand Prix. So yeah, I basically got a bulk lot, and I think it was like 3 sets I made out of it, base sets. I don't want to go into what happened to the other ones. But yeah, I just got them signed. So my set's signed by 63 of the drivers, who I've got, Dan Weldon from IndyCar, who's passed away, Schumacher, who is irreplaceable, Nicky Lauda, Sterling Moss, Jack Brabham. Well, yeah, obviously they're never going to be able to get replaced. And yeah, there's a bunch of like random guys like Kazuki Matsura, who's like a Japanese driver who tested a Honda, and I assume he's in that set because he just tested the Honda that year, being a Japanese set. I found him on Instagram and I messaged him and I sent him a picture of the set, and he gave me his address and I posted him the card and he signed it and posted it back. And yeah, there's like just some really random drivers in that set on top of greats as well. But yeah, it's just that set's gone around the world with me to the Goodwood Festival of Speed in England. Many Grand Prix. So I think I got Hakkinen at the Hockenheim Grand Prix one year. Like, yeah, it was just like a project that I worked on to try and get them all signed. I am missing 6 drivers who are alive on there, and my 2005 set I'm only missing 2 drivers who are alive.
Wow.
That's not as many cards. That's got 64 cards. This set's 100 cards, but there can only be a possible 230 of each of these base cards, I think it is. So if you do the print run from cases and boxes, so how they were released is that every single packet had like a memorabilia card or an autograph in it. So it was kind of like the dynasty of the day, but you got 4 base cards with a relic effectively. And I've got like a guy in Taiwan that I speak to. He's like, yeah, people were just throwing the base cards out. They'd get their relic card and they might get a Schumacher card and they just throw the other cards out. So I know of about 10 Hamiltons that exist. But they're between, and those PSA 9s, none are going to be 9s because they're all a lot of them are miscut and off center. And I've done comparisons with like lining them up and everything else. And yeah, I think the pop on the 9, I'd be I know the story of the one on there, and I know the person that owns the one on there at the moment. I don't know if he wants me to talk about him, so I won't go into that. But
fair enough.
Yeah, there's there won't be many 9s out there. So I know the guy who bought the initial 9 was a bit upset that another 9 popped up so quickly. But yeah, this was in a stack of cards from being pulled from a packet that had basically never been touched since it was pulled, 16 years ago, this one. But even my friend in the UK sourced one, which he spent a lot of money on from a private collector, and that one like would definitely not get a 9. Like, and that's been pulled from a packet and put in a folder, and we've like looked at it, and there's definitely some flaws on that. So, and just the way they're cut, one of the edges has like chips out of it. I think it would have been the guillotine that cut the card. So yeah. Anyway, obviously mine's signed, so I'm going for a bit of a different angle on mine than the PSA 9.
It's unbelievable, mate. But it's good to know the knowledge behind the set and its actual rarity, and if that is the case, that these cards were potentially I mean, you could probably liken it to a bit like Giannis Antetokounmpo, where people were just literally throwing out their prison base cards because they were like, "Who the hell is this guy?" And then all of a sudden, at one point, the card's worth over just $500, $1,000 raw. So, it's pretty crazy where it's come a long way. That's why I say people never throw out your base cards. Hold on to them.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's crazy. Like, I don't think this sort of thing will happen ever again with how much attention cards has had. So this might be like one of the last stories out there of like a rookie from 15 years ago that's now worth a lot of money. But I'm sure more will surface now. And
I can't wrap my head around the fact that. So what you're saying is there's 230 of those Hamiltons in the print run.
That's it. Yeah.
And you're saying to me that a whole bunch of them were thrown out.
I've got a guy in Taiwan that has a Hamilton. He's told me, like, at the card shop back in the day, they'd go down there, open a couple of packets on the weekend, and people would take their relics home and throw out the base cards, like, unless it was a Schumacher or a Senna.
You know what this this sounds like? Freaking the Mickey Mantle story where they dumped all his rookie sets in the Hudson River in New York.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, I'd be shocked more than look. If more than 50 of these surfaced, I'd be shocked. And like, we've been trying to I've been trying to do some research. Yeah, it's crazy. It's nuts. If I knew how rare they were,
I love it.
That's something obviously I.
But at the end of the day, how many do you know are signed? Like, do you know other collectors that have got that card signed?
Please say it's just yours.
Look, I'm not sure on that one, to be honest.
So just you. That's what we'll say. That's an
There we go.
exclusive. It's
Yeah.
just Matt. No, it's honestly, it's epic. It's if you can't see it, I brought it up on the stream. Sorry to people that are listening at home, but if you actually have a look closer at the card, there is Lewis Hamilton's thumbprint or fingerprint is actually on the autograph, which is actually pretty cool. It's actually a neat touch. People might say, "Oh, it's smudged," or it might have his fingerprint, but I actually reckon it's
yeah, it's one of those weird. I remember when I got it signed, it was but even back then he used to try and like sneak out the back of the pits. There used to just be like a crappy old gate at the back of the pits. He'd go out and have his driver wait for him, and I just like a couple of us would wait for him, and yeah, he basically signed the card. And I remember him just like handing it back and going, "Oh, sorry, man." He was like wiped his like thumb on his pants, and like when he handed me the card back, so it was a bit of a
And here you are with the great man. Obviously,
far out. How old is that? That's 2008. I've still got that book signed by him actually, but yeah.
Wow.
There you go. I've got a few photos over the years, but
it's awesome.
Yeah, I found that randomly on like a F1 website. It's Schumacher 2010 in the paddock.
Very nice. And then obviously, did you get much response out of this guy, or did he?
Not really. I've got two. Honestly, in all the years of collecting, I've got a lot of autographs of Kimi. And if you get to Kimi like one-on-one, he's pretty good with the autographs, but the photos are really, really hard. I hid at the circuit after they kicked everyone out, and he was waiting for his driver to rock up with his car, and they just took a while. And that's the only reason I got a photo with him. I was really lucky. And the other photo I got with him was when I had Ferrari hospitality at the Hungarian Grand Prix in 2015. So he's a very hard man to get a photo with Kimi. He won't stop for like selfies. He just keeps walking. He's one of those guys.
Yeah. Incredible. There's just so much, and
there's a lot. It's good. I like it. This is
outside of cards and obviously massive. Mini helmets. What else do you collect in the F1 space?
So with F1, I collect model cars, mini helmets, programs, and cards. So with Vettel, every time he won a race, I used to buy the race win program. So I have all 54 of his race win programs signed. I used to try and get the drivers to fully sign the program at the Grand Prix. So I've got a bunch of them, and I've also got the British Grand Prix from 2010 and Hungarian 2015. I managed to get fully signed. And if a driver wins a race for the first time, like I buy their first race win program. The best one I got would be Jackie Stewart's from 1966 Monza. Right. I found the original program on eBay, and I got him to sign it. I think it was a couple of years ago, just before COVID.
Fuck, that's incredible. That's so sick.
Now I should have done tickets though. Tickets. There's big money in tickets.
Hey, you've got a big ticket there. Bring it up, Doma. There's one on his Instagram.
It's astounding. I've been offered $10,000 US for that ticket.
No, don't you damn sell that. Take that.
No. I'm not. And that's like his early autograph as well. He doesn't like it's a little bit more simplified than what he does now.
Just grade that shit before you even think about selling it.
No, I'd slab it as authentic. Apparently, PSA won't grade tickets that are clipped now, so no Australian Grand Prix tickets are going to be graded because every single ticket up until this year's Grand Prix were clipped on entry.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can only authenticate them now, apparently, with PSA unless they're not being clipped, which I think is stupid because they were all clipped if you used them. I don't know.
This is unreal. Mind you, just quickly, he's only got 396 followers on Instagram. Like, that's a fucking indictment on the hobby, mate. Like, I'm telling you.
I don't promote myself, man.
No, it doesn't matter. We're promoting you, Matt. That's why you're on here. And we wanted to obviously get to know you and your story, but it's an indictment in the fact that he's got 396 followers and we're listening to other people that got thousands and got no fucking idea about the sport. Sorry to those people. I'm not going to name them, but you know who you are. You're just there to get clicks. We tell it as it is, Matt. Sorry if it sounds.
I'll be honest. I don't care about the clicks. On the Discord with I have a really good group of like F1 card friends, and they sort of like push me into doing an Instagram. And obviously, I haven't there's big gaps in between posting.
I know it's not about it might not be about the clicks for you and stuff. And we're the same. Like, we'd love more subscribers for the fact of not the clicks, just the education side of things, and that's our whole purpose. So. That's why we think you should have more followers. So you're able to educate more people, because the more followers you have, they'll obviously probably want to hit you up in your DMs and ask you questions. And I don't know if you can be stuffed dealing with that, but I'm just saying, like, you may be able to help shape the hobby in the F1.
I
sector
definitely
educating
respond to it.
Yeah.
This could go all night if I open this can of worms. Have you guys heard about the Lando 4 controversy with the autograph that came from Topps?
I can't go all night because we were going to ask you that. So that's okay. That wasn't a question, but we were going to lead into that. But we will. Let's address it now. So I'll see if I can bring it up. You did put it in one of your stories, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So I did the Paddock Club is a guy in America, Noah, does a little podcast. I actually spoke with him this morning about it. So I've got a theory of what I think's happened with the card. Look, we don't know for certain, but I'm convinced that Lando didn't sign it. And so long story short, I pulled one from a packet. I think I pulled the first one that was ever seen. I got a case of Chrome 2020 really cheap. I ordered it ages ago in April last year, opened the whole case with my girlfriend. And she actually pulled it out of the pack. She's like, "Oh, you got a Lando autograph." It's really weird. He's just written Lando and the number 4. I'm like, "What? Show it to me." And I'd met him before and got his autograph. I'm like, "That's so weird. Like, that's not his autograph." And I remember posting it on the Facebook group, and people were like making fun of it. Back then, it was more of a British group. There wasn't as many because Chrome hadn't come out in US. Like, we got it in Australia, I think 2 weeks before US got it. And yeah, people made fun of it, and then obviously it spiraled. Like, this was like everyone wanted a Lando 4, and you know, the whole controversy came when she collects cards. Hannah, are you guys familiar with her?
Yeah.
So I speak to her a little bit, and I've done some deals on a couple of things and whatnot. But yeah, she basically submitted it to PSA. She spent $7,800, which I thought was the most expensive sale of one, which I've since found out it's not. And she submitted it to PSA, and they basically said, "Look, we can't authenticate this and slab it. Topps want to contact you directly for a recall, and they want to replace it with a regular sticker." So it was all a bit odd. And then obviously Buff, and she's sort of saying it's not real. Buff Breaks did a rebuttal video saying it's real and had all these hypotheses and theories on how this autograph came to light. There were known examples of a Lando 4 autograph. So there's like Zach Brown has a race suit where he's written Lando 4 on it. And yeah, I was a big believer that this thing was going to be real. So I had every intention of tracking down Lando in Melbourne and going, "Hey man, did you sign this card?" I brought it with me in a one touch and video him going, "Hey guys, this card's real." Because, you know, being the cool guy that is, I thought he would, you know, for the hobby and everything else, do a 5-second video just to put everyone's mind at ease, and all the collectors would lose their shit. And this is going to be like an extremely rare card. Helps my cause. I've got one. But yeah, it didn't go as planned, and I was really, really shocked. So I found out Lando got into Melbourne quite early before the Grand Prix, and I know where he stays. Weirdo. Anyway, so I waited outside his hotel for him to come out. Weirdo.
Where there's a will,
anyway.
there is a way, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I'm not saying how I find this information out. I maybe chat with you guys, but I don't. This is not for the public to find out how I do this. But anyway, so he comes
with
out
with binoculars in a tree. That's how
with a trench coat on, and he's got his big headphones on. Anyway, I just went, no. He turns around. I'm like, "Oh mate, look, I just want to have a quick chat to you. Did you sign this card?" And he took his headphones out, and I had it in a one touch, and he basically grabbed it off me, and he's just like, "I didn't sign that, man." He goes like, "That's not my autograph." Like, that was the first thing he said to me. I'm like, okay, fuck, right? So I told him a bit of this story about how, like, what it was. It was from the official cards from Topps. It was from a sealed packet. It's endorsed by F1. It's fully licensed. I went from the whole story, how people are saying this is real, there's fake, there's examples of you signing Lando 4. And he basically just said, "Look, I remember signing the little stickers for the card company, but I didn't sign like that." He goes, "If I'm asked to do my autograph in a professional capacity, that's not my autograph." He goes, "Like, if I give someone a race suit, I might write Lando 4 because I know them. Like, it's from me. I'm fucking Lando. That's my name, right?"
Whereas this official auto here.
That's a bad one, but that is his auto. Yeah.
So that's what it should look like. Okay.
He did say that he signed the little stickers for the card company. So, but yeah, he goes, "I didn't sign it." So after the chat, because I said, "Look, mate, I'll be honest, I actually wanted to get like a little video of you saying this is real, because 10 people basically think they've got one of the rarest cards possibly in the hobby." And he goes, "Mate, I'm not doing a video because I didn't sign that." That's expressly what he said to me. And then he like actually grabbed it off me again in the one touch and like full studied it. So like the card was in his presence. So So yeah, look, given his response, like I'm 100% certain he did not sign these cards. Anyway, I got him to sign a bunch of cards, and I asked him to do a Lando 4, which he did for me, and it looks quite different to that one there. So anyway, my theory is, well, it's not my theory. I met with someone in the hobby that knows a lot more how these things work the other day, and they sort of suggested to me, like, when cards and stickers are sent to athletes, they have an example. So on the sticker sheet, we're thinking that the Lando 4 are the example stickers. So like, oh, hey, sign these stickers like this. Because with this sticker, like, you know, Ocon's hopeless. He just signs like anything in front of him. He doesn't even look at what he signs. So he'd probably screw them all up. So they sign on the sticker where to sign so they don't go off the sticker. So I reckon they said Lando 4 is an example of how the autograph or where it should be signed on the sticker. And these were applied to the cards rather than his autograph by accident. It is a bit of a coincidence that they say Lando 4, but Eddie Mancini, who does breaks, he's got an email saying from Topps that they are not fake and they were applied in error. They don't say that they're a genuine autograph. So my view is Topps didn't have the intention of putting a fake autograph on there, but yeah, these example stickers were accidentally put on the card. That to me is the most plausible outcome or explanation for this. I just want to respond.
Contacted you? Have you tried to contact Topps?
Tried to. They've ignored me. Tried to reach out. Card Porn have reached out on my behalf as well now. You know, the page that sort of exposed people and shit. So
yeah, we can
hopefully that helps.
Reach out to him if you want to.
Yeah, if you want to reach out. No, Card Porn's responded to me. He sent it he said, like, we've reached out to Topps to try and get you.
Oh, okay, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. So I've spoken to him
on your
about a couple of things.
Good job, Juan.
Yeah.
Good job, Juan. Well done.
So yeah, let's see what happens. But I know that Lando did, and I don't benefit from this because I've got this card and this could be worth a lot of money. So for me, I can't. I could have just shut up and sold it, and then or got my replacement from Topps or done whatever I needed to do. But I think people need answers for this. But a few people have one person that's paid a lot of money for one of these has contacted me privately. I'm not going to say who it is or how much they paid, but I just told him everything that I knew about it and my story, and just said, mate, like this, I'm only doing this because I'm convinced that this isn't. Lando didn't sign this from what he said to me. And like Lando took his time with me. It wasn't like, I can't remember, I've got to go. Like he engaged with me, took his headphones off and actually had the time to have a chat with me. Like I was there for a good probably 5 minutes all up with him. So one-on-one and no one else was there. So yeah, I'm convinced they're not real. After that, and I was convinced they were real before I had that conversation with Lando. So
it's big.
Oh,
it's big.
That's just insane, to be honest.
But he does sign Lando 4, and he signed that card.
Well, he does.
I've seen it. The L's a lot different. The way he writes the L.
He said he did it for me, like, because he felt sorry for me to a degree, like, because I got him to sign a bunch of cards. I'm like, oh, can you do a Lando 4? And he sort of even made a joke, like, oh, at least you know this one's real, kind of thing, like when he signed it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Very funny. So about getting, obviously, your memorabilia signed, you have briefly touched on that earlier on, but just some stories and how you go about getting these autos from a lot of these drivers, and a lot of people obviously are thinking out there. How many did you say you got? You got 50 autos
at the Australian Grand Prix this year. I probably got over 200.
Over 200, sorry.
Yeah,
and they're thinking like 200, like he's done the impossible. Is it actually impossible? To me, no, because you got 200 autos. But people think it's completely impossible to even have an interaction with a Formula One driver. They look pretty much untouchable on a telecast. So just some stories, how you've managed to get this done over the years.
It's definitely not impossible, but I don't think a lot of people think in the way that they need to be able to make it happen. I think if you meet autograph hunters, man, they're a special kind of someone. We're all a little bit weird. And even I'm like, fuck, this is weird sometimes, but you know, it is what it is. I sit back, I get my sign collection. I'm happy. I don't know, like in terms of, I mean, the coolest story for me was when I got I'll tell you, when I got my photo with Schumacher in his race suit. So at the 2010 Australian Grand Prix, they do like the general, like the pit walk. And it used to just be, if you had a grandstand ticket and you bought it early, you're in the Grand Prix Advantage Club and you get all that, you know, those tokens that you got to buy at the Grand Prix to get all those extra shit. You used to get that for free with your ticket. So anyway, I did the pit lane walk, and I was kind of like, oh, this is a bit shit. Like, you don't really see much. All the screens are up. Anyway, they left the fucking gate under the podium open. So I just went straight into the paddock, right? With this other guy. We just walked straight into the paddock. And then they obviously realized they left the gate open and closed the gate. And we just sort of sat there and sort of waited. And then like Schumacher came out and we're like, oh, Michael, can we get a photo? He's just like, no, not now, but later. Anyway, he kept going between like the garage and the hospitality area. And he just kept saying, no, later. And it got to about 2 hours. Anyway, he finally came out in his race suit. He's like, all right, now you guys can get a photo with me. So it was a lot better that he was in his race suit. That was a pretty cool one. Yeah.
I like it.
But
good stuff, mate. Good stuff. That's what I mean. Sometimes even you had the access, but sometimes there might be a little door that's open, and you go, well, you're a bit inquisitive. You just wander down there and just go in there, and happened to be a bit like how I was able to sneak into the grandstand, and even though I didn't have a grandstand pass this year, but I just sat there, watched a bit of the qualifying. You
were lucky the seat was empty, how busy it was.
It was empty. I got kicked out at about 25 minutes into qualifying, but I was happy to watch the 25 minutes. I watched the last bit on the big screen. When you get in for free, it doesn't, everything's a bonus. So, it's absolutely. After that, it was just good to hear the cars go around. And that's what you got to do, ladies and gentlemen. You just got to be inquisitive and get into those nook and crannies. And as he's already mentioned, potentially seeing where some of these, these guys potentially stay. I don't know how you figure that out. Never know. They might post something on their story on Instagram or Facebook, and you might notice it as something that if you live in that city, you don't know, right? That could be the case. And then once again, that just comes down to your dedication, how long you want to be there, and understanding,
it's not all fun and games. There's a lot of waiting, man. Like they're long days of waiting. Like, you reap the rewards, but I don't think I'll go into that in the public forum on how a lot of it happens.
That's okay. We'll ask you off camera, don't worry.
Look, I'm just speculating, but that's how I would think that's how it's done. Because I've done this before, but with AFL players and other things of the like. When it would probably be a lot easier with AFL players in a sense compared to F1, because F1's massive in the scheme of things. But yeah, I've had a bit of experience at some point. So yeah, and I just know it's just more about your will and want to do it. And at the end of the day, you got to understand, like, you're there as a collector and someone who just wants a piece of memorabilia. And yeah, that's what I mean. It's good. I like it.
Yeah, I do too, Sauce. Your thoughts on the rising popularity of F1 cards?
Yeah, look, it's obviously it's good because there's going to be more product, but I think like a lot of it is like unobtainable. Like there's a lot of collectors out there would probably just like love a base set of chrome, and even at like $350 for a base set now, it's like they're priced out. So I know you got your turbo attacks and all that, but yeah, look, it's good. Obviously, I'm holding a lot of nice cards, and I don't know, you guys might be as well, but it does make it hard to get into the hobby if you're starting out. And I'm just so thankful that this shit wasn't released when I was like a teenager or a uni student, because it would have drastically affected my quality of life at spending money on that stuff. Now, like, I can afford it a little bit better. Like, I'm not rich by any means, but I just try and buy really smartly. But yes, look, it's good. I think it's good for the sport if it keeps it going for another 50 years, and it's a unique, product, and it sort of keeps its essence. So hopefully, it helps. Yeah.
And your thoughts on obviously the added products for this year? Obviously the paper, the lights out. Obviously we've got Chrome again, Dynasty again. Sapphire obviously announced at a much higher price point than what it was last year on the pre-order. Just your thoughts on on that. Do you find it a bit disappointing that obviously they're trying to reap the rewards, tops, and pricing products a bit higher? Yeah,
it's an absolute cash cow. But at the same time, if tops don't, lift their price, the people that resell boxes are going to push the price up. And obviously, we don't need to go. But obviously, the reason why cards are so expensive is because of breakers, effectively, like hoarding the stock and then individually selling spots, which are more affordable. Look, paper I think is good because it's like something that, the price that it was sold at through like Cherry and other stores was ridiculous. But now that it's recorrected, I think it's a good product because it is affordable. You can get a base set for quite cheap for like kids that are like 10, 15 to have, and they can hit like a relic or something. But yeah, I don't know. I think there's too many sets. I'd love just one set a year, to be honest with you. Like that would do me, but that's never going to happen. And obviously, you're like, I won't touch Sapphire. But then as a Vettel fan, I'll just have a look at Vettel Sapphire cards and I'll buy a couple.
You could always be a fucking nutcase NBA fan and have over freaking 50 products a year getting released by Panini. So,
mate, it's hard enough being an F1 fan and just, even without the cards, trying to keep up with the model. Like Max Verstappen released 5 mini helmets last year, and they're not cheap, man. So it's like it's hard.
Have you got any steering wheels?
No steering
So you don't
wheels.
have any of those? Yeah, I used to see those at the F1 when I used to go.
Do you mean like the little model amalgam ones?
No, like I don't know if they're replicas or like the replica of a steering wheel.
Yeah. They do all different scales of them. They're quite expensive, the steering wheels. They're cool, but like, I mean, where do you start? Where do you stop? Like with mini helmets, I used to just buy everything like 10 years ago, and they actually weren't that expensive. But they've gone up quite a lot. So I just buy world champions every year, whoever's a world champion. Then I buy like Vettel, Ricardo, and Max now. And I've just sort of like pinned back because it just got too hard to like try and keep up. But there's a guy I know that literally buys every single mini helmet release. Like he's got 600 helmets.
Fuck.
I reckon I'm probably nudging 100 now. But yeah, this guy's like ridiculous. Like he just does helmets though. He doesn't do like the model cards or anything else. Yeah.
That's awesome. Obviously, we can see some stuff in the background there as well. Obviously, we can see some helmets there. And do you have anything on hand that you can show the audience? Anything on hand there that you're comfortable showing, I should say?
Yeah, not in the way of helmets. Like I just have some cards here that I was actually thinking of getting graded. Like we touched on like the grid set with Schumacher. I think I may have the only signed one. I've never seen another signed one out there.
There we go. Get that closer to the camera, ladies and gentlemen. That's a Michael Schumacher signed rookie card. There it is, if you don't mind.
So that's it is a little bit beat up, and there's some scratches in the order. But again, like this, I remember this was just sitting inside my program, like no protection, no top loader, because like they weren't worth anything back then. I was like, oh fuck, there's Michael. I already got him to sign my program. I'll get him to sign this kind of thing. I literally don't know another one that's been signed, and I've also got his Adelaide '94 card signed, which I don't think anyone else has got one of those signed.
I was going to ask you about.
You got any of the old Stimmerall cards that
Scanlins
or whatever?
Yeah, I got the full motorsport set. Yeah, I got the center.
I was going to ask you about this because I bought this and gave this as a play on the podcast. So I gave the center a play when I bought it at $25.
Yeah.
I think it's been run up massively. Someone jumped on our podcast about 3 months ago and was like, oh, have you seen the price of that card that you gave? And I'm like, no, I haven't looked at it. I bought it because I like Senna. And on the back here, I bought it from the same seller, and I bought Prost as well.
Prost, yeah.
Yeah, so I bought them both because I like them as drivers. And he just goes, oh, have a look at the Senna. I think the Senna was on bids at like $800. Like there'd been bids on it, and then the Prost was there was like a last sold there for $220, and then there was one on bids for $200. I don't know.
Doma absolutely stooged me on that. The guy said he had two of each left, and I said, all right, you buy one, I'll buy one. And I went there, and then when I tried to buy the last two that were there, it said, sorry, mate, there's an error. So Doma took the last two, or else I should
last one. No, it said there was
the last
two,
one,
there
sorry.
was one. But mate, how do you know there was only one? Maybe I've got both. I haven't told you. I wouldn't do that to you. I wouldn't do that to you. I'm not a fucking freak like that. But I do have both. So, yeah, just absolutely insane stories that you've got. It's just unreal. Your best story in Europe at a European Grand Prix. Just a memorable moment.
Yeah, probably the 2012 Hungarian Grand Prix. They actually sold tickets to the after party, and after parties usually shit. Like no one goes to them. It's just a bit of a wank. But this one, like Sergio Perez was there, Alonso was there, Fisichella was there, Yukio Katayama, who had driven some Grand Prix, was like DJing. Jaime Alguersuari was DJing. So I just remember, like, I was just hanging out with my mates. Like, 'cause you had to pay 150 euro for the ticket, but it was like all drinks included, and that was a lot of money for me at the time. I remember I spilt my cocktail all over Sergio Perez when he was wearing a white suit, and he cracked the shits at me. And Jaime Alguersuari got so drunk, like he couldn't eat. We had to like carry him up the stairs, like after his DJ set. It was pretty funny. So he just got annihilated. But yeah, that'd be probably one of the funnier stories.
Drive fast.
I'm just trying to think. It's just harder. Yeah, there's just been so like it's just been such a long time. Like I've been doing it. Like it's just all a bit of a like just try and sit there and think about like different stories. It's tough. Yeah. But just quickly back on that Senna card. I think that's actually the first cardboard card of Senna ever made. I'm pretty sure. So there's like the acetate cards from Panini, which is rookie. There's like a disc, like a POG thing from Portugal. Yeah. But that's actually like his first proper cardboard card, where it probably hasn't got the recognition. I've tried to push that to a few people, and they kind of like, oh, but there's the Panini acetate card. But
yeah, I tried to push the same thing, and it's not just because it's his first cardboard card. It's his first like face card as well. That's obviously in the hobby. That's what people love, face cards. Obviously over just a picture of Senna, but it's actually him in his car. Yeah, on the card. So they go, oh, that's not his rookie because it's not actually his face card, or he's like him in it.
Well,
in the driver's
the 84 acetate card has got his face on it.
It's got his face on it. Yes, correct.
Yeah. They were about $1,000 when I found out about them, and they're like 10 grand now. They're ridiculous. How much?
Don't worry. We'll be hopeful, Matt. We'll be hopeful that this first cardboard card will hit the heights beyond that acetate
Hopefully,
card.
Mate. Well, I've only got one, and it's really off center, but it's in really good condition. The centering on them is terrible.
I've got one, and it is pretty freaking good. I can give you that much. It is.
Yeah, yours looks pretty good. Like just from holding it, like the centering on it looks.
Honestly, it's in like mint condition. I don't know where this guy had it, but even the Prost, like, I think I bought. I reckon from the same buyer. I should go back and have a look, but I was buying some old school AFL cards, and I'm a North Melbourne supporter, so I bought some Wayne Carey rookie cards, and they were Stimmerol 1991, and I bought the Wayne Careys for, I reckon they were like $15 for the set of North, and I just bought it because I'm like, I don't really care about the other players, but I just wanted Carey, and it was in like immaculate condition. I've gone, this card is 30 years old. Where's this being stored? Like, where's this being stored? Yeah, and not for anything, they're in really good nick. Like, the Prost is off center, but the the center is pretty good. So
I bought a full set off some guy, and the 4 Peter Brock cards were signed. I paid $200 for it, but like they're immaculate as well. Like he had them in just like a case that had them all stacked up. But yeah, they're all immaculate. So that's obviously people did look after their cards back then.
Yeah, the true hobbyists. Do you collect anything else in the card hobby, or is it just strictly F1?
I'm originally from Sydney, so I buy Manly Sea Eagles. Like I'm a huge Manly Sea Eagles fan. I buy just like the NRL autograph cards. But that's it. Like I'm not into basketball. Like I do
AFL,
like.
You have a team?
My girlfriend's a Carlton supporter, so I'll say Carlton, but not like I'm neither here nor there, to be honest with you, with AFL. But I'm passionate, like tragic. Like I flew up to the first 2 home games to go with my dad for the Manly games. But yeah, every time they're playing, like I won't do anything. Like I make sure like I'm at home to watch the game. Or
like, you're a league man. You're a league man.
Yeah, even though I moved to Melbourne when I was 14, but it's just I much prefer Melbourne, but I just can't. AFL just hasn't done it for me. I still love my rugby league.
Yeah. That's fair enough. Fair enough. Each to their own, as they say. Your next big plans with F1. Do you have any plans that you can share?
So my
on the wraps.
Yeah, my next big plans it's regarding the 2006 Viterra set. So obviously, look, I never collected this with the intention to sell these and make money from these and whatnot. But like the money that's being thrown around for these cards is stupid, and it's life changing to a degree, and it'll improve quality of life with buying a house and
100%.
Other aspects of life. So I had a direct Zoom call with Golden the other day. So my card's set as a set, and we're going to get them slabbed and authenticated. It's going to go on as an auction over the national weekend, and they're going to physically display the set at the national in America.
And
You're gonna fly out there. You're gonna go to the national.
With work, like I'm going on holiday to Tassie for a couple of weeks. I don't know. I don't think I can
Wait,
really.
you just give work the call. Tell them I'm just about to sell 2006 Futera set.
It's not that easy, man. No, it's not going to sell at the national. It's going to be on gold and like as a normal 2-week auction, but it's going to be on display at the national. Yeah.
That's fine.
My mates can take a photo for me. I've seen them. They're in my cars. I got them here. I can look at them now.
No, that's fine. But yeah, just to fly out there because you might see some other F1 cards you want to pick up is what. But listen,
with the buyer's premium,
was
surely
Ken
Golden
there?
can fly
Was
fly
Ken
out
there?
there. Ken can fly out.
Was
there.
Ken on the fucking call, Matt?
No, I spoke to. No, I didn't speak to Ken. Apparently, the guy that I did speak to was quite high up, but it wasn't Ken directly.
Listen here, Golden. I'm telling you, this set is one of a kind. Fly the guy out there. You can fucking give Champagne Puppy and bloody Shine and all these other guys the royal red card treatment for opening flawless boxes and getting jack shit and wasting hours of my life watching it. The least you can do is fly him over in business. 100%. Business minimum. Don't put him in economy or premium economy. At least business. Fly him over. Put him up in a hotel, mate. You're going to make that much money off the buyer's premium, mate. You're going to be wiping your ass with $100 bills. So just fucking help the guy out. Fly him over. Come on. Golden.
Yeah.
Ken, I know we've been critical.
And the missus.
Listen, Golden, Ken, I know we've been so critical sometimes of you for the last 2 years, but come on.
Just I'm going to be honest with you.
I'm
a massive Oasis Liam Gallagher fan. He's playing like in Melbourne when the Nationals on, and I don't want to miss Liam Gallagher. So,
fair enough. Yeah, but then
he's got some true passions. He's just can't miss. I love it.
That's fine, but you do know the national runs for multiple days, so
it does.
Yeah, that's okay. He'll fly you out at least one day on his private jet, maybe. I don't know. I'm just throwing up everything here for Ken. No, but that honestly, it is awesome, and that is something. If you are going to the national, we got a few friends that we know in Australia that are going to be heading over. And we told them that we would be interviewing you. We didn't obviously mention any of this. Obviously, you mentioned it to me, and obviously we kept it on the wraps. But we said like F1, you'll get to know a lot about the sport by listening to this podcast. And like, yeah, we'll listen to it. And when we go to the national, we actually keep our eye out for some F1 cards that might interest us because we've got into the sport through Drive to Survive. So. Now that people do know this, we got obviously our American audience do listen to this too, and a lot of our friends over there will be going to the national. So this is obviously a unique piece. In honesty, somebody being in the hobby, not just an F1 lover as well, but it is unique to see something like this because it is one of a kind. You're not going to see hand signed Futera cards from 06. You're just not going to see that ever again. So honestly. Your hard work and dedication has to be commended because it's hours of work put into it. It's not like you just rocked up and they were there and they were in a line and they signed every single one as easy as that. Like you mentioned, you're giving some stories behind that set. But honestly, wish you all the best with it. And
thanks, man. It's going to be sad to see it go. Like some people said, maybe just sell like the Lewis car, but like looking at a set missing one card, I'll have an aneurysm. Like I collect sets, so if it's missing a card, I may as well just sell the whole set. And I feel like it's such a unique item. Like I feel like it should be sold. If someone wants to break it up and they pay for it, then that's what they can do what they like with it once they buy it. But I'd like to see it being sold as a set because I think it is a very, very unique opportunity. Look, there may be other complete sets. They're definitely not going to be signed anywhere near to the extent of my one, and I'd be shocked. There's no way any are signed any with 63 drivers on there. And the PSA 9 that's at Golden now has ruined a complete set, so that guy now doesn't have a complete set. So there wouldn't be many complete sets out there.
So and you did mention it, and I'm glad you did mention it. Like you obviously collected it as obviously a piece for your collection, but there is an opportunity for you. For all that hard work, time, and dedication to actually generate some life-changing money, which can obviously help yourself, your family, and that's the great thing about the hobby. And people can say what they want to say to people that want to flip a set and stuff like that. But you know what? There is a real life sometimes, and the hobby can be a means to help people get a leg up in life and, just enhance their life, their quality of life as well. So that's the other way people should look at it. And not for anything, you sell it and you should make it a mission, try and get to every Grand Prix in a year, mate, in a calendar year. Yeah,
actually, one of my mates, Alex, did that in 2010. I met him at the Malaysian Grand Prix from the UK. He was like in F1 magazine at the time, and Virgin Racing, who were a team back then, they gave him a paddock pass every race. But yeah, he literally went to every race in 2010.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah.
That's so sick.
I think it's a bit. It's too hard to achieve. I think living in Australia, like well, even now, like it's expanded a lot out of Europe, so it'd be even harder now than it was back then.
Definitely. So, lastly, unless you've got anything you want to
do a YouTube series of that, the fan going to every game of F1 and just vlog the whole thing, mate. It would just be, I reckon, crazy, make amazing content.
Man, we could literally talk for days and hours. But where can we find you? Just the Oz F1 Collector on Instagram?
Yeah, just the Oz F1 Collector. Yeah, I don't really do social media. To be honest, that's it. Yeah,
we're pumping this page, mate. It's 396. I'm pissed off about that. I'm not happy about that.
That's all I do. Nothing else. I'm not on anything else. So
the link will be in the description, ladies and gentlemen, where you can find Matt. Give him a follow and go check out his awesome collection. I'm sure he will post some photos along the way, and you'll see more of the things that he's got. But just unbelievable. Just learned a lot, even myself. Like, I don't really know the history of the sport and certain things that when you talk about, who actually owns I just watch the races. I'll be honest with you, Matt. Like, I've known the sport. I've lived in Melbourne. I've been to the Grand Prix probably like 6 times in my lifetime because you live here. So you sort of take it for granted. It's a bit like the Australian Open. You just sort of take it for granted. It's just there. So you go. Never really followed the sport religiously until about 3 years ago, but like learn a lot about history of the sport as well. So it was really cool to speak about some of that stuff. And then just your collection is just unbelievable.
Thanks, man.
And I knew that when I seen your page, that even though you didn't have that many photos, because I think I found you a while ago. I've been following you for a while. And I was like, yeah, we need to have a chat to you and check out some of the stories that you've had. And especially I knew you had some cool stories when you got so many in-person autographs and then, and what that involves and meeting some of the drivers, which is really fun. And thank you for sharing them, man. It's been really good chatting to you.
No, you're welcome. Yeah, thanks for taking the time to speak to me as well. And yeah, happy to chat.
Yeah, definitely. We might have to tee up a Grand Prix here in Australia just to catch up, and we can even catch up beforehand. It'd be awesome, to be honest, and just shoot the shit on F1. And I'm always open to learning more, that's for sure. So I like picking people's brains and learning more about the history of a sport. So, but thank you so much. It's been super informative for me as well, for someone that actually loves the sport and has been following it for a long time. And yeah, I've learned a lot of stuff about some of the cards, obviously in the hobby as well, and the sport in general, and the life of a true F1 collector. So, Matty, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
You're welcome, guys. Thank you.
On behalf of myself and Source and Matty, keep living, loving, and breathing sport. It's double coverage, and peace.
Peace. Thank you for tuning in. Please don't forget to leave a review on the Apple Podcasting app. Also, follow us on socials, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. Talking all sports, double coverage.